Have you ever wondered why, more than 14 centuries after the Prophet's PBUH passing, an unwavering devotion to the leadership of Ali ibn Abu Talib continues to shape spiritual, cultural, and political arenas across the Muslim world? From the winding alleyways of Kufa, where merchants recite elegies of Karbala in hushed tones under flickering lantern light, to the majestic courtyards of shrines in Najaf and Mashhad, where millions of pilgrims prostrate in reverence each year. The reverberations of that pivotal question, who truly guides us, still inspire poets, philosophers, reformers, and social activists alike. Picture the desert at dawn, the horizon glowing a deep amber, the cool breeze carrying the scent of desert thyme and frankincense, and the silhouettes of camel caravans retracing centuries-old pilgrim routes. In that vast expanse, the memory of a single moment, an oath of allegiance to divine leadership, echoes like a call to justice that transcends time and geography. The very instant the Prophet Muhammad drew his final breath in 632 CE, the Ummah plunged into uncertainty and sorrow. In Medina's Saqafa courtyard, once a communal date palm grove, tension crackled like electric current. The Ansar, comprised of clans such as Banu Sa'da, Banu Najjar, and Banu Khazraj, felt both grief and a deep responsibility for the nascent community's survival. Sources like Al-Tabar recount how Sa'd ibn Ubadah, leader of Banu Khazraj, stood atop a propped-up date palm trunk proclaiming, "The Ansar will not accept any newcomer as their leader." In response, Abd al-Rahman ibn Auf and Umar ibn al-Khattab argued the Quraysh's precedence, emphasizing that Muhammad had been among Quraysh. Into this fray stepped Abu Bakr, his voice calm yet authoritative, advocating shura, consultation, as both a prophetic practice based on the Quran's injunction in 3:3159 and a pragmatic means to preserve unity among tribes. Meanwhile, Fatima and Ali, aware that divine succession could not be reduced to human consensus, retreated with a small group, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that political expediency had overshadowed a divine covenant. Just months earlier, during the Prophet's farewell pilgrimage, a defining moment at Ghadīr Khumm would crystallize Shia beliefs on leadership. As palm-fringed desert tracks converged at this strategic oasis, perhaps 100,000 pilgrims halted in the desert heat, sipping from date palms and seeking shade under acacia branches. Narrators such as Anas ibn Malik describe how the crowd fell silent when Muhammad halted, raised Allah's hand, and declared in resonant tones, "Man kuntu maulahu fa'al maulahu." Whoever I am his master, Ali is his master. Some pilgrims cried out in affirmation, while others observed in stunned awe, though Sunni sources debate the significance, treating it as counsel on authority. Shia scholars embraced it as explicit designation of Alam's spiritual and temporal guardianship. For the Shia, the partisans, Ghadir became the axis upon which the wheel of Islamic leadership turned, invoked at every council and recited in every elegy. The Quran's verses provided additional evidence for early Shia theologians. Surah Al-Ma'idah 567, "O Messenger, announce what has been revealed to you from your Lord," was revealed shortly after the Prophet left Ghadir, according to exegetes like Ibn Kathir and Al-Tabaran. Sunni exegetes typically regard it as a general mandate, but Shia luminaries such as Al-Tusi and Shaykh al-Mufad interpret it as urgent instruction to proclaim Allah's guardianship. Similarly, Surah Al-Ahzab 33:33's purification verse, God intends only to remove from you the impurity, O people of the household, was seized upon by Shia scholars to affirm the Ahl al-Bayt's unique spiritual status. The convergence of these scriptural anchors reinforced the base tenet. Divine guidance did not end with the prophet but continued through his appointed successors, each endowed with isma, infallibility, to guard the faith. By 656 CE, the legacy of Caliph Uthman's contentious assassination had left the Ummah fractured. Tribal rivalries, simmering grievances, and debates over justice created a volatile environment. Into this breach stepped Ali, accepting the caliphate amid cautious optimism. Relocating the political center to Kufa, a frontier garrison city built to house veterans of the Muslim conquests, he encountered a complex tapestry of Arab tribes, Persian converts, and Kurds. He spoke from the pulpit of the great mosque of Kufa on principles of justice. I am but a shepherd and you are the flock. I shall answer for you at the final reckoning. He opened Mazalim courts to hear citizens' grievances against governors, rationed stipends based on need, and codified zakah and kharaj policies in line with Quranic injunctions. 59:7. Meanwhile, Muawiyah, the astute Umayyad governor of Syria and a kinsman of Uthman, rallied support by painting Ali as lenient toward killers of the previous caliph and as unfit to avenge a blood debt. These competing narratives fanned the embers of discord. Thus unfolded the First Fitnah, Islam's first civil war, which tested both the spiritual and political bonds of the community. At Basra, the Battle of Jamal erupted when Ali's forces confronted the camp of Aisha, the Prophet's widow, Talha, and al-Zubayr, companions whose demands for justice for Uthman aligned with calls for unity. Thousands perished under a blistering sun, their cries lost in the desert wind. Months later, at Siffin, on the banks of the Euphrates, a month-long siege culminated in the dramatic arbitration gambit. Both armies raised Qurans on spearheads, each invoking divine testimony. Far from resolving disputes, the tactics splintered allegiances and gave rise to the Khawarij. Zealots chanting, La hukma illa li Allah, no judgment except God's. Their uncompromising ideology not only condemned both sides but also foreshadowed later extremist currents in Islamic history. Although Ali's 5-year caliphate was tumultuous, his leadership solidified enduring shurd tenets. That authority must stem from divine appointment, that justice overrides expediency, and that the ruler's moral integrity mirrors the community's spiritual health. On Ramadan 19, 661 CE, he led the dawn prayer in the great mosque of Kufa. A lone Kharijite assassin, abhorring Allah's perceived compromise with Muawiyah's arbitration, struck from behind with a poisoned sword. Witnesses recount how Allah recited, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, as he fell in prostration, sanctifying him as the archetypal martyr whose blood purified the community. In the wake of his martyrdom, Al's eldest son al-Hasan inherited the mantle under dire circumstances. Recognizing the futility of further internecine bloodshed, he negotiated a 661 CE treaty with Muawiyah, guaranteeing safety and respect for the Prophet's family in exchange for abdication. This accord exemplifies the Shari emphasis on compassion and communal welfare. Al-Hasan withdrew to Medina, dedicating his life to scholarship, spiritual counsel, and the preservation of Imamate teachings. His winter dwelling became a sanctuary for jurists and theologians, ensuring continuity amid political subservience. Yazid's succession in 680 CE rekindled the question of legitimate authority. Hussein ibn Allah, embodying his father's and brother's principles of justice, refused allegiance. Departing Medina with family, women, and a small contingent, he traversed the Syrian desert toward Kufa, buoyed by reports of over 18,000 invitations to lead. Yet at Karbala, he found fewer than 100 steadfast followers and Yazid's troops severing access to the Euphrates. On 10th Muharram, the day of Ashura, 680 CE, Hussein and his companions made a final stand under a merciless sun. Chroniclers like al-Tabar describe harrowing scenes. Children parched and wailing, women clutching water skins in vain, horsemen fighting to the death. By nightfall, only the women and children survived to convey the atrocity. Karbala's bloodbath became the crucible of Shia identity, teaching that upholding truth, even unto death, is the ultimate devotion. From Karbala's ashes emerged the continuous line of Imams. Zayn al-Abidin, Hussein's son, survived due to severe illness, which spared him the battlefield. His magnum opus, Sahifa al-Sajjadiyya, weaves over 60 prayers and supplications, blending Quranic phrases with lamentations for Karbala. His emphasis on inner spirituality and ethical conduct laid foundations for Sham devotional practice. Muhammad al-Baqir, his successor, opened study circles in Medina, instructing students in fiqh, jurisprudence, tafsir, exegesis, and falak, astronomy. His courtyards became crossroads of knowledge, attracting jurists like Abu Hanifa and shaping Islamic legal discourse. Jaʿfar al-Ṣādiq, the sixth Imam, 702 to 765 CE, heralded a golden era of Shia thought. In his famed Bayt al-Ṣādiq, he engaged in dialogues on theology and philosophy, transmitted over 4,000 hadiths now preserved in works like al-Kafa, and articulated the doctrine of Nas, divine designation of each Imam. He nurtured scholars who would found the Jaʿfari school, codifying the principles of ijtihad and establishing a distinct jurisprudential methodology. His engagement with Hellenistic philosophy and emerging rationalist schools underscored Shi'an openness to intellectual synthesis. Under Umayyad and Abbasid scrutiny, Shia scholarship adapted, flourishing through clandestine networks. By the 9th and 10th centuries, Qom and Nishapur had emerged as intellectual beacons. Scholars like al-Kulayni compiled al-Kafi, codifying core hadiths, while Ibn Babawayh authored Man la yahduruhu al-faqah, laying the groundwork for Twelver fiqh. Concurrently, the doctrine of occultation crystallized. In 260 AH, 874 CE, the 12th Imam, Muhammad al-Mahdi, entered Ghaiba, hidden existence. His awaited return as the Mahdi promised restoration of justice, sustaining hope amid political marginalization. Distinctive Shi'am rituals and communal practices evolved in this crucible. Majalis during Muharram transformed mourning into sacred performance. Rawani lamentations, rhythmic latmiya chest beating, and dramatic taziyah passion plays recreated Karbala's tragedy. The doctrines of Tawala, expressing love for al-Bayt, and Tabara, dissociating from their enemies, fostered solidarity that transcended ethnicity, language, and geography, forging a global Shia identity. Throughout these formative centuries, the Quran and prophetic traditions remain twin pillars of Shia belief. Verses like 567, Tahrir, and 3333, Tahrura, were studied alongside prophetic narrations in seminal collections such as Al-Kafa and Tahdhib al-Ahkam. ensuring an unbroken chain of transmission linking the Prophet's revelations to the Imams' teachings. By the turn of the first millennium, Shard dynasties, the Buyids in Persia and the Fatimids in North Africa and Egypt, ushered in a renaissance of culture and learning. They commissioned monumental mosques adorned with intricate mosaics, founded institutions such as Al-Azhar University in Cairo, and patronized luminaries like Nasr al-Din al-Tusi, whose works bridged theology and astronomy. Fatimid Cairo in particular became a center of Ismaili thought, producing philosophical treatises by thinkers like Hamid al-Din al-Kirmani. In the modern age, 12 Shara communities in Iran, Iraq, Lebanon, and South Asia continue to draw from this rich legacy. The 1979 Iranian Revolution, led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, reasserted Shar principles in governance through the doctrine of Wilayat al-Faqih, guardianship of the jurist. Simultaneously, Shanchal IJ networks and digital platforms foster transnational solidarity, mobilizing relief efforts and interfaith dialogue. Each year, over 10 million pilgrims journey to Najaf and Karbala, retracing the footsteps of the Imams and renewing vows of allegiance. As we trace this epic narrative, we see more than a historical schism. We behold a living tradition woven from unwavering faith, profound sacrifice, and an unbroken chain of divinely appointed guides. The rise of Shiaism teaches us that true leadership demands steadfast conviction, boundless compassion, and the courage to stand alone. Lessons that resonate through time and compel us to ask, in our own era, who will we follow, and will we stand for justice?